Hello kids! Welcome back to Science Learning video part 3 about heat energy. Previously, we have talked already about heat gain and heat loss. When things gain heat, they will be hotter. When things lose heat, they will be colder. When solid gains heat, it will change to liquid. We call it melting. Meanwhile, when liquid gains heat, it will change to gas. We call it evaporation. When liquid loses heat, it will change to solid. We call it freezing. It's like when we make ice. Meanwhile, when gas loses heat, it will change to liquid. We call it condensation. Like I told you previously, boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. Hopefully, heat gain and heat loss are clear for you. Now, let's go talking about expansion and contraction as the impact of heat gain and heat loss. Let's get started. Heat gain and heat loss. When things gain heat, expansion will happen. Another word for expansion is to get bigger and longer or increase in size. Meanwhile, when things lose heat, contraction will happen. In another word, contraction means to get smaller and shorter. We also can call it decrease in size. Matter can expand and contract. Look at the ball. It expands or gets bigger. What about the balloon? The balloon, when it's cold, it will contract or get smaller or shrink or deflate. It's because heat energy. So, when matters gain heat, they will expand. When matters lose heat, they will contract. As we already know, there are 3 states of matter. They are solid, liquid, and gas. The example of solid is this metal ball. The example of liquid is the water inside the glass. Meanwhile, the example of gas is the air inside the balloon. Like I told you already, that matters can expand and contract when they gain heat and lose heat. Let's see, the first matter is solid. The example of the solid is the metal ball. Look, the metal ball can pass the ring. Now, let's see. What if we burn or heat up the metal ball? By burning it, we are going to make this metal ball to gain heat. When we put it in the fire for several minutes, the ball gains heat. After we heat up the metal ball for several minutes, the metal ball cannot pass the ring anymore. Why? Because the metal ball expands or gets bigger. This is the proof that solid can expand when it gains heat. It is the proof that solid can expand. This is the expansion and contraction of solid. Before heating, the metal ball can pass the ring. After we heat up the metal ball, it cannot pass the metal ring anymore because it expands already. Then what do you think we have to do to make the metal ball to fit to the metal ring again? Yes, we have to cool it down again. So when it cools down, it's going to shrink or contract so it can pass the metal ring again. To make you understand more about this expansion and contraction, let's see this experiment. The second state is liquid. Liquid also expands and contracts when it gains or loses heat. The example is water. Look at this experiment. Before heating, this is the volume of water. Can you see the water level? But when it's placed inside hot water, it gains heat and starts to expand. Look at the water level inside the tube. It's rising, isn't it? This is the proof that liquid expands when it gains heat and it will contract again as it gets cold. To help you understand more, let's watch this video.
Now let's look at what happens to a liquid. Inside this flask is regular water with red food coloring so we can see it better. We can do the same thing as we did to the gases.
The third is gas. Gas expands and contracts as it gains and loses heat. Let's take a look at this balloon. To prove it, let's take a balloon and put it on a bottle, like this picture. Alright, when we put it in the hot water, the gas inside the balloon will gain heat so it will expand. You can see the balloon inflates or getting bigger. When we put it in cold water, the gas inside the balloon loses heat so it contracts. That's why the balloon deflates or gets smaller and shrinks. To help you understand more, let's see this video.
First, let's heat up the air using hot water. The balloon grows. Then let's put the bottle in some ice water to see what happens. The balloon shrinks.
So, we can conclude that matters, which are solid, liquid, and gas, can expand when they gain heat and can contract when they lose heat. Is there any effects of expansion and contraction in our daily lives? Obviously, yes. Let's say there are two identical glasses are stuck, like this picture. You have experience like this before, right? What are you gonna do about this? Please don't do this. You are going to end up losing the glasses and they are gonna be broken. So, then how? Step 1. Put the ice to the glass on top. Step 2. Put them on a bowl and pour hot water to the bowl. Step 3. The glass on top will contract and get smaller. Meanwhile, the glass on the bottom will expand, so there will be some space for them to let go each other. Now, your glass are not stuck anymore. Hooray! Do you know how this works? This is actually using the concept of expansion and contraction. Interesting, isn't it? There are some other examples of expansion and contractions in our daily life. The example is why this wire and cables are loose. It's because to allow the wire expand and contract. When it's cold day, the wire will contract, so it will get shorter. What if the wire gets shorter? It will snap and it will damage the pole. That's why it's hung loosely to give some space for the wire to contract. Pavements. Have you noticed that the pavements are placed with gaps? It's because avoiding the crack when the pavements expand during hot day and crack. Alright kids, now let's talk about good and poor conductor of heat. Like I have explained previously that heat travels. Conductor is object that can allow heat energy to flow or to travel. Some are good at conducting heat, others are poor at conducting heat. Good conductor of heat is also called poor insulator. Poor conductor of heat is also called good insulator. Here are a list of good and poor conductors. Some examples of good conductors are like gold, silver, copper, iron, brass, and aluminum. Meanwhile, poor conductors or insulators are glass, stone, water, plastics, wood. Here are the conclusions of our lesson about heat energy. You may pause this video and read it. You may rewrite this conclusion to your notebook if you think you need to. Alright kids, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you understand the whole lesson about heat energy. Have a good day, stay curious, and bye.